in hope. We had a customer call us who was a previous owner for this home, residence, property, whatever, and he was concerned about there being enough water to provide for a family that was going to move there that previously lived in the city, where they're not used to just limiting their water out of a well. The owner at the time knew that the well was a low yield well, and he wanted to provide a storage tank of water for the new purchasers of the property. I met up there with him on site, went over the job, and then I've never seen him again. But the new owners I've talked to, and they lived over in Seattle and were making a transition on moving over here to North Idaho, and we're just happy to have water in a higher capacity.
What we do is challenging and difficult because it's technical, and that's what makes it special. We are a dying breed.
So day one was we went on this job for this adding a cistern. We went out there early to dig a hole. The hole's purpose was to allow for when the concrete company brought their tank, they could just back up to the hole, drop the tank off, and get out of there. And from that point on, we could keep digging ditches in with the ultimate goal of getting everything that was needed in the ground, conduit, water pipe, etc., in the ground and backfilled, so we didn't need a piece of machinery there longer than a day or longer. So we didn't need it there any longer than necessary. for parts, for parts that we know we need, because I have no idea why.
Some jobs are job specific. You can plan ahead as much as you want, and eventually you end up needing a part or having too many of one part.
There's lots of parts that are involved in a lot of these projects, a lot of different styles of parts and different kinds of parts. Many parts can be used in one fashion or another fashion, still accomplish the same goal.
Usually when I'm on a job, I'll grab a bucket and I'll sit there in my head and go over, okay, I need this part to do this, and it connects to this part, and it connects to this part, so on. I'll throw all those parts in the bucket and go over and get that task done.
There's a couple of things that contribute to the time at a job site looking for parts. One is the unknowns that you run into, so that's a good one. Number two, a lot of times on the job sites you can't really get the truck as close as you would like to the job site, so there's a distance between you and there, and as you're working through the issues, you'll realize that what you thought was going to work isn't going to work, and you need parts.
There's a lot of travel back and forth to the trucks because you always end up needing something else.
It has been my experience in watching the guys that have been amped, other than myself, that they don't really get it all the time, every time. And so they'll go over to a task that they're doing, they'll get a part, they'll go back and they'll, oh crap, I needed a nipple too.
As well as maybe not knowing exactly what part you need and trying to find one that might just fit the bill and be able to roll with it.
I'm probably gonna go buy a whip or some kind of probe device to try to rectify the situation. Day two, we actually ran the conduit, water line, everything in the ditch, because day one was pretty much just digging the ditch. The problem at that site was there was lots of river rock, small boulders, and every time you take a scoop of dirt out, 3 more scoops fall in the ditch. So you're working 4 times as hard to do the same thing.
My part there was fitting the plumbing, i.e. the poly pipe being used to connect the one entity to another entity, and making sure that all of that is plumbed up correctly and without leaks.
There was an existing well there, and so what we do is we tie into the well, and the well slowly fills the cement block.
Existing at the site, there was the electrical coming from the panel in the house and the controls that fed the well pump. The wires for those were direct bury, came up with the well. We needed to redirect those to the cistern so that the pressure tank would turn on the cistern instead of the well.
The work inside the tank is a little bit more to do, a little bit more technical. What I did inside the tank was install the plumbing required to allow the tank to be filled via one side of the plumbing, as well as to be discharged via a pump on the outside, on the other side.
The cement block has another pump in it that feeds the house and the spigots around it.
Then we also needed to have the float switch inside the tank, the cistern, turn on the well pump when there was a call for water, when the water level got low. So the J-box was required to divert the electrical from the house that was going to the well over to the cistern, which allows for splicing of the wires so that they can be redirected according to code.
Level? Yeah, my backpack in the... Oh, yeah, it's in there somewhere. doing the job, the excavator track came off. I would lower it, Chris, and take some of that deflection out. That way it'll loosen up on the end.
When you have a rubber tracked machine of any sort, not just a mini excavator, rubber stretches. So when you have river rock and it's falling and you're tracking back and forth here and there, every once in a while you'll get one of those rocks in between the final drive or the sprocket guide on the other side, and if you keep going, it just kind of, it's like a bicycle chain. It just pops it off, because at that point in time it stretched enough to pop off where it was supposed to be and kind of hinder your progress.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Okay, here.
Here we go.
I figure you have him here.
Do you remember what we did at Stevens?
Yeah.
Got out of the ditch, right?
I
So
figured
why
you-
the hell are you in the tank?
Because you have him guiding you here.
Okay, do you need shit for this? Do you need electrical conduit? Do you need a J-box?
I already got the parts.
You got a J-box?
I have the. You didn't tell me I could go get parts yet. I have the parts listed.
I told you right when you guys got here that you're gonna go get parts after we set the tank.
Okay, I was
Right.
waiting for you. I didn't know if you had anything else for me, so I was doing that in the interim. I thought
Okay.
you wanted to see what was there before we made a decision.
No, we got 1-inch conduit, right?
I
We need to
figured.
get out of the ditch.
I understand that. I figured you wanted to see what was there before I went to get parts.
I feel that there's a certain amount of miscommunication because people communicate differently.
I think that we just need to come together better and under the realm of communication, and I think a lot of that will remedy itself out.
The person who has the most experience here is Tom. So usually at the end of the day, most people are going to default to his experience anyway. I think the issue is though that it's just being able to see what he's seeing.
The miscommunication, I believe, is either because I talk too fast and assume they know what I'm talking about because they're looking at me going, and when in fact they just don't want to say that they don't understand what I'm saying. A lot of the times we'll go over a job, I'll draw a picture, and as soon as I start talking, they start going over the parts in their head instead of finishing listening to what I'm saying. So I'll start saying, well, we're putting in a well pump, and then they'll be like staring off into the breeze going, I wonder if we have any drop pipe, when they didn't hear me saying we're going to need a pump tech, we're going to need to pull the wire, it's going to be a solar system. It's, they just miss stuff because they're wondering if we have parts to do the first thing that I said.
Part of that is one person has maybe been to the job and seen the job where you have 3 other people who haven't. And so one person explains what the job's supposed to look like. If you get there and everything was imposed backwards, now you have a communication problem.
A lot of times there's miscommunications or issues on the job site because you're not on the job site at the same job site at the same time as everyone else was. So some people start it, some people finish it. So if you're coming into the middle of a job site that's already started, you are trying to get a concept of what's already happening or what's already there and how you need to continue from there, which sometimes can be an uphill battle if you have more than one person trying to communicate where they think what they think is trying to be accomplished and where they think it's going.
See, and here's the other thing is, like, I'll have everybody there and I'll say to them all at one time the exact same thing. One person will have heard me. The middle person will have heard me say a different size. And then the last person will have heard me say a different material. They all heard something else. Our goal for our customers is to listen to their needs and provide them with the best service that we're capable of doing in a timely manner, the best of our capabilities.